Well, this is my idea, but as I think about it, it's kind of intimidating because I don't really know. Well, it's not going to be very much in order. I'm going to be skipping around and trying to remember things, and so I'm going to leave a lot of things out, I'm sure. And I hope I'll be able to um, come back and remember some. And I apologize. My makeup artist was supposed to come by and didn't do it either. So what you see is what you get. Anyway, I don't know if this would be any benefit to anyone. It just may be me that I think it would, but nevertheless, just old Eugene Juergens, better known as Bots, and I was born in near Weimar, Texas, about 5 miles northeast of Weimar, on Grandpa Billig's place. He had about 250 acres of land there approximately, and he had 3 homes on the place, and they lived in one of them, of course, and when I was born, November the 4th, 1934, and it was on a Sunday, and it was very cold, according to my mom, which winters were pretty cold back in those days. And we were born there at Grandma and Grandpa Billig's farmhouse, their home there. And I will try to draw an outline of how the house looked like, also the dance hall, and a few other places that we lived. I'll try to do that just a little bit later on, toward the end. But anyhow, my little sister and I were born on that cold winter day there at home, and it was, I'm sure, a touch and go situation. There was, of course, no heat in the home. It was one little wood stove, but it was way off in another room, and so I just can't imagine what my mom and my dad went through at this time. Probably not expecting but maybe one child, and then having 2. Nevertheless, I think it was Dr. Novak, I believe, that helped deliver us, if I'm not mistaken. And of course he drove out from Weimar, and the gravel road ended about 3 miles from there, so I'm sure the roads were much in need of repair, particularly during the winter, because they were just muddy roads. And I assume he drove a Model T or maybe a Model A. And it's possible that he came out in a buggy. I don't remember my mom saying that, but and I failed to ask her. But anyway, Uncle Fred and Tante Betha lived up on the same place, just a little piece from there, and I'm sure my little sister and I were struggling to keep warm and keep her alive, and Tante Betha, Uncle Fred's wife, well, she came down and made kind of like a little incubator, and my understanding she would heat up bricks on the wood stove and wrap them up, and I guess put them in this little makeshift incubator that she made, just a cover and whatever it was, I'm sure very simple. And this went on for some time, and my mom told me that Tante Beta really helped her a lot. In fact, I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. But my little twin sister Eunice lived for 27 days, and for some reason she passed on, and I remained. It was also that my mom's milk was not very rich for us, and that might have been a problem that was discovered maybe just a little bit later, and maybe too late. I don't really know that either. But my understanding is that Tante Beta and maybe someone else, I think they took Carnation canned milk and diluted it and gave me a bottle and all that, and kind of built me up, and I started to gain some weight, and anyway, like I said, my little sister passed away 27 days, and looking at the death certificate, it says cause of death, I believe it says heart failure, and we just don't know what could have transpired. We just really don't know. And we stayed there for some time, and of course I don't remember staying there. All I remember is what I've been told, and in the room I was born in, and more or less the general situation. Then we moved about 2 miles closer to Weimar. Grandpa Juergens had a place there, and my dad was working at the hatchery. They had a little hatchery there in Weimar called Sanitary Hatchery, and he would get up about 4 o'clock every morning and take a lantern and walk across the woods there and come out by the old golf course, and where the golf course is now, and work his way over to the hatchery. And the hatchery was just a big old converted house, which is actually about 2 blocks from where my mom and dad's house is, where she lived all these years, from 1953 until she went in to the rest home, and we sold the house about 3 years ago. But it's just only about 2 blocks from where they built their first little house. And they were hatching chicks and candling eggs, and they would put them up to this little box where they had a little light in it, and they'd look in there, and I think they were determining whether the eggs were fertile or not, and so they would, of course, put the fertile eggs in the incubators, which has a certain heat, and I think after 21 days they hatch, and then they would sell them to people in the area for fryers or hens or whatever. And my dad did that for a while, and like I said, getting back to Grandpa John Juergens' place, well, Grandpa John lived there too, and the only thing that a couple things that I can remember there, and I don't know how old I was, but back in those days they used bluing, which that's what it was called. It was in a bottle and it was blue, looked like almost like blue ink, but you'd put it in white clothes to make the white come out brighter, and then of course Mom would starch them and all that. But anyway, I can remember that she was giving me a bath, and there was a bottle of that bluing in there, and I don't know if she stepped out or something or what, and I don't know. I sort of don't remember. I don't know how young I was I was pretty young. And I took this bottle of bluing and I just poured it in the bathtub, and I guess I saw her do it with the clothes. And so I took a bath in bluing, and Mom was not too happy about it. I don't remember her scolding me, but I remember I could tell that she was not a happy camper. But of course that bottle of bluing cost probably maybe 10 or 15 cents, and that was probably, a lot of money too, in a way. And the other thing that I remember was that we had a couple of dogs, young dogs, and I took those young dogs and we were only about 100 yards off from the road, and we sold milk in those milk cans, and Rod Matthews would come by and pick up the milk that we left that morning, and he would throw down an empty can so we could put milk in there that night again and try to cool it down with water, because we didn't have any refrigeration, of course, and just keep cool water around it. But anyhow, I took off with those two dogs, and I crossed the road, and I went across the road into another pasture, and Mom discovered that I was missing, and Rod Matthews just happened to be down there with his truck, and he had those cans stacked up, and so he got up on the truck and was looking out, and he said, I see them up on the hill there. They're up there by the barbed wire, and I don't know if I got caught in a barbed wire fence, or I don't remember that, but I remember vaguely this episode going on. And so anyhow, he ran up and rescued me and brought me back, and I don't know if I got a paddling or not. I don't recall that, but anyway, I didn't do that again, so I guess anyway, I didn't do that again, as far as I know. And speaking of Grandpa John's place, well, there was days they would come around and sell lightning rods, and they would fit over your house, and the theory was that if the lightning hit those rods, the lightning would go down in the ground instead of the house. And I don't know, back in those days, lightning seemed to hit houses a little bit more frequent than they do now. And I don't know why that was. It didn't happen a whole lot, but it did happen. So people sold lightning rods. And he had a tin roof on there, and somebody came by and wanted to make the place look a little better, so they wanted to paint that tin roof some kind of a red color or something like that. And I mean, there was things going on back in those days. It's hard to believe too, but I think the first rain came, I think half that paint came off the top of that tin, but